Well, welcome back. It's another beautiful day. I figured why not play with the Buick some more. Had about another week of it sitting with some oil in the cylinders and I sprayed everything down. So we're gonna see if we can't get it broke loose enough to spin a whole rotation. Last time I messed with it, it would turn a little bit and it would hit a hard spot. So let's see if we can't get it freed the rest of the way up. And like I said, yes, it is another beautiful day. The last couple weekends it's been cold and rainy, of course on my days off. During the week though, it's hot and sunny when I'm going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bar back on the bolt on the crank, and I'm actually going to turn the motor back and see how far that direction I can turn it before it hits that hard spot. And then I might actually use the leverage from the starter and get enough momentum and see if it'll move itself past the hard spot. We'll just have to see. It may not. It really depends, and I don't want to be too hard on it. If it's not going to be fairly easy to do, I'll pull the valve covers. I want to make sure there's no stuck valves. I don't want to bend any push rods or do anything too disastrous to this to try to force it. But the fact that it moved at all is still just blows my mind. Let's get down here and try spinning her back the opposite way. Might end up having to pull this fan just to give me some more room. There we go. Oh, we're moving back the opposite direction now. There we go. They're starting to get tight. Now we'll see if we can get the starter to help us out on this a little bit. Look at these brand new battery cables. Ain't that nice? This car's getting all the special treatment. Okay, let you guys be able to see what's going on here. So, which wire was it? It was one of these. Yes, that one. There we go, guys. Look at that. Well, that's all she needed. I even feel compression blowing out of the cylinders over there. Well, looky there. She just needed a little bit more persuasion. Like it was nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank it over and I'm going to put my finger over each one of the spark plug holes, and we're going to see who's got compression and who doesn't. Start over here. I think these are, being GM, this would be 2, 4, 6, and 8 over here, 1, 3, 5, and 7 over there. So we'll start over here on all the even numbered cylinders. Okay, those two are dead. Probably stuck valves. Yep. Okay, we've got 2 cylinders, no compression. More than likely, it's gonna be stuck valves. Yank the valve cover off this side real quick. Looks like a couple 5/8 bolts or nuts. Okay. Yep, I was right. 5/8. Let's get these off here real quick. Another thing too, I don't know if you noticed that once it spun over, it didn't spray a bunch of oil out of the cylinders, and I did fill them up 2 weeks ago now. That's a good thing. actually, because when they shoot out a bunch of oil like that, that means that the oil did not soak past the rings, and that means the rings are stuck. Well, the fact that none of it sprayed out of these cylinders means it all soaked past the rings. It did what it was supposed to do. So that actually makes me feel a lot better. And I tell you guys too, I also got a carburetor kit for this, and points, and wires, and plugs, and a cap and rotor. I'm really trying to, drop that nut. But I'm really trying to do this right, give this thing every possible chance. Now, I do have a pretty strong feeling that the transmission is no good, or it needs, I don't know, maybe it's not totally screwed, but that's why this was parked. Oh man, look inside the valve covers. Wow, that looks like, I mean, I'm sure that's just years of non-detergent oil, but that looks like mud. I used to hear that the old Pennzoil or Quaker State used to do that. It would sludge up because it used a lot of paraffin. But I don't know how much truth there is to that or not. Boy, that stuff that looks and feels like mud. It doesn't feel greasy at all. So this cylinder, so one of those is probably stuck, and one of those back there is probably stuck. Let's see. I wonder if do these cars have, I'm gonna have to look that up. These surely don't have hydraulic lifters, do they? Because if they have hydraulic lifters, it might just be a matter of getting them pumped up, and that could be why. You can see that valve's not stuck. That valve back there might be stuck. Let me see if I can tap that one a little bit. So it turns out it is 2 stuck valves, which I'm surprised 2 out of 16 is really not bad. I tapped them down so there's some spring pressure on them. I'm lubing them up. I might even heat them up a little bit to try to get them free, but we shouldn't have damaged anything. These engines, I just did some research, do have hydraulic lifters, so there's obviously not going to be really any oil pressure at all. They should have just collapsed due to the stuck valves, so we shouldn't have hurt anything. I don't think the push rods are bent or anything like that, so I would say we're fine. But I am going to try to get those 2 valves freed up, and I think before starting this it would be a good idea to dump the oil and get rid of all the stuff that I poured down the cylinders, because it's down in the crankcase now, and especially now knowing that these cars have got hydraulic lifters. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to try to clean up under the valve covers and get some of that sludge out of there. I mean, it probably would be fine, but I don't know. I would feel better about cleaning it up at least a little bit, or at least before going too far with it. Maybe we could start it and then run some diesel or kerosene or something through the crankcase. That would also help clean everything. But I sure hope the rest of the engine doesn't look like that, but it probably does. But I'm going to play with these valves and heat them up and mess with them, and hopefully we can get them broken loose. Well, that took about, I don't know, 2 seconds tapping and spraying, and then I just bumped it over, and look, no more stuck valves. Okay, this thing just wants to run. The next step, let's pull the carburetor and see how bad it is. I've got the stuff to clean it. I've actually got an ultrasonic cleaner over there in the shop. It would be good to go ahead and clean it up, and maybe it'll need a kit. In case it does, I've got a kit. Hopefully it's for the right carburetor. We'll get that thing yanked off and we'll start getting her cleaned up. Been a couple days, but I'm back, and as you can see, I got the old 2-barrel. It's like an old 2-barrel Carter. Got it pulled off of the Buick, and inside we are going to tear it down, clean it up, and put a kit in it. Got my favorite spray type carb cleaner. Got a kit right here, which these are not easy to find, and they're kind of expensive. So I guess that's what I get for playing with Buicks. Well, everything's expensive now. I try to rebuild a Carter ball and ball off an old Chrysler or something. They're about the same price as that. Anyway, don't need to listen to me complain about that. This is my ultrasonic cleaner. This is just a cheap one. I think I bought it off eBay or something. We got it all cleaned out, and right now I'm heating it up, and I've got some mean green in there. In the past, I don't know, everybody's got their own favorite thing to use in ultrasonic cleaners, it seems like. I used to always use simple green, but I haven't really been that impressed with it, so I'm trying this stuff here now. We'll see if that does any better. But let's see if everything, I have not even looked at this. I just pulled it off and brought it in. It's pretty filthy. Down inside doesn't look terrible. I don't know. Throttle's not stuck. Choke's not stuck. Had one of those heat riser chokes on it. There was a line run to here. Clearly it wasn't doing anything though. Somebody's gutted the choke mechanism. But we will start tearing this baby apart. We'll see what's going on. Might not be too bad. Well, first thing, I'll take the throttle linkage off here. There's just a cotter pin down, stuck through the end of it. If I can get on it. Times that I've rebuilt carburetors, I have learned best way to do it is have a clean, well-lit area, because no matter what, you're going to drop something and probably lose it, but a clean workspace seems to be the best. Well, now I will take these linkages off so then I can actually pull the top off and look down inside the bowl. Probably going to need a bigger screwdriver for that one. Oh, there's a little bitty see, this is the size of, oh, I already dropped it. This is the size of a lot of the little clips and pins you're working with on a carburetor. See, if I just dropped that on the ground somewhere, I'd never find it again. Well, now we should be, well, let me pull the, should be the needle and seat there. Let me pull that seat out. Oh, nope. Okay, the needle and seat is not in there. On a Chrysler, it's right in there. But this is different too. This is also a 2-barrel. I don't deal with a lot of 2-barrels. Usually everything I've got is a single barrel. But now we've, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 8 screws, and we'll pull the top off. So, got this little cover off. That shows us inside the accelerator pump and everything, I guess. But it's not all froze up. Everything seems like it would work just fine. That is a good sign. See the old, well, you probably can't see anything. Oil under screws. I guess maybe they're saying to oil this linkage up every once in a while. But I think I've got all the screws out of the top. I should be able to pull this top off. Unless there's some going down through or going up through the bottom that I don't know about. Well, let me pull the carb base off. It's gonna be these 4 bolts here, 2 there, 2 there. I got the base off, just lifted right off like that. Didn't even tear the gasket. It's pretty hard and brittle, but I could honestly reuse that if I wanted to. Nothing looks terrible in here. It's kind of dirty and got some corrosion going on, but nothing too terrible. Oh, I'll pull those air mixture screws off the bottom of that too, so I can get in there, clean all that out. Now, I want to get this top off. What am I missing here? Looks like there's a filter in there, like one of those old stone filters. I wonder if that holds that in somehow, and that might be keeping us from getting the top off. Found it. That screw there was underneath a bunch of dirt that actually looked kind of like it was part of the casting. So now, top comes right off. Huh. Okay. We'll add that to our pile of screws over there. So now, we've got another gasket right here, which again could be saved. So now let's see what is holding this up. I want to get in the bowl. I think that might pull off there now. Yep, here it comes. Look at that. Shoot, this thing would have just ran. I mean, it might not have ran great, but it would have ran. Well, that's a good sign though, that it's all in good shape. Finished taking this apart. Take the squirters off here for the accelerator pump and kind of clean all this out. I think there's some little jets. Yeah, there's some other things I need to pull out of here, but really though, not bad. I mean, that accelerator pump there could even be saved. I do need to check the floats and make sure they float, but look at that. Needle and seats working just fine. Yeah, it's a good carburetor. Let's hope this kit is right, which it looks like it is. So this is what we're left with. We got it pretty much everything taken out of here, or as far as I'm gonna go. I know that there's still some little jets and things down there in the body that I could take out, and there's little check balls and stuff. This thing is really in pretty good shape. I think a good clean, a good bath in the ultrasonic, replace everything that I've taken apart, or at least as far as what the kit has. A good clean, re-gasket. This thing, it would have ran the way it was, honestly. This is ended up being not something I had to do, but at least it's something I'm doing now and I won't have to do in the future. But I think the ultrasonic here is, well, it's starting to get a little warm. These take forever to get good and hot, but start getting everything dunked in there. Oh, I wanted to show you guys too. So the floats, there's a couple different ways to check them. You can either just dip them in water like this and look and see if there's any tiny bubbles anywhere, which I don't see any. I'm sure it's fine. Another thing people do is they'll hold it up to their ear and you can shake them and hear. That way you can see if you hear debris in there or sediment, and that's a good indicator that the floats are bad. They'll usually leak where they are soldered together. Focus camera. Yeah, there's they're soldered together in 2 halves. Most floats are, and they'll usually leak at those solder joints. But I'm going to start putting everything in the bath, and we'll give it some good cycles and get it nice and hot, almost steaming hot, and that'll take all this grease and oil and dirt off the outside, and then we'll use that to finish it up and blow through all the passages and just make it really, really nice and clean. And we will put all new gaskets and whatever jets and things that I've got here in the kit. We will roll that in there. And into the bath we go. Oh, it's probably gonna... Oh, didn't overflow. Cool. Now we wait. Gone through 1 cycle on this thing. See, water is quite a bit dirtier. Let's pull it out and see how it looks. Starting to get steamy too, but we're still not up to temperature yet. Pull this out. Oh yeah, it's already made a pretty big difference. Starting to get some of the grease and dirt and whatever off of here. It's coming off. It's gonna take some more cycles though. I'm gonna flip all these. It's a good idea between cycles to kind of flip everything so that, like this body here, I can get all the dirt out of it. Pour this nasty water out. Yeah, it's coming clean. I mean, it wasn't that dirty to begin with inside. We'll flip her around. And we'll put her back in the bath. Might throw the float in here too. That way it's got enough time to sit there and soak for a while, and then I know if it's sunk then I need a new float, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine. We'll restart the cycle. Go for another 30 minutes. There it's going. See? Things are pretty nice. Makes me wonder how I cleaned carburetors before I owned this thing. Well, while we wait, we're left with a couple options. We can either do something productive, or we can go to the bar. I think putting this back together with a hangover tomorrow sounds like a great idea. So I'll see you then. It's the next day, and this has had plenty of cycles and plenty of time to get clean. So let's see how we did. Only a little hungover, so that's to be expected, but check this out. Look how clean everything's come out there. Pretty good. So now I'm going to focus on cleaning all of the main body parts of the carb. Then I'm going to throw all the small stuff in there, the hardware and jets and whatever, and give it a cycle while I put what I can back together. So I will be back. And there we have it. A sort of rebuilt Carter 2-barrel. I would have tried to film a little bit more while I was putting it together, but I mean, this is not an instructional how-to video, and I don't think you guys would have wanted to just watch me struggle with this. The only part that was really bad, kind of took me a minute, was the accelerator pump and these 2 metering rods that you have to line up and stick down into 2 jets down here. That was really the only hard part. And then of course I got it all together and realized I left out a spring on the bottom of the accelerator pump, so then I had to take it back apart, and of course then I had to take all this back apart again. But we're good now. I think we're gonna run just fine. I got 2 mixture screws set at 1.5 out. Everything ought to be good to go. So now let's go stick it back on the car. Well, I was walking out of the shop and walking over there toward the car, and this reminded me. There is a rear view mirror in the truck now. That was evidently a huge deal in the last video, but I stuck it up there like the day after I put the video up, and that's been, or sorry, about a day after I filmed it, and that has been 2 weeks now. So again, everybody that was worried and is still worried, the rear view mirror is in the Dodge. I think that was everybody's main takeaway from that whole video. Nobody even really paid too much attention to the car I went and got. Here it is. We'll throw the carb back on, and then we get to deal with the ignition system. Oh shit. Forgot the gasket. By the way, thank you for all the new people that have subscribed. I did not expect the video of me going to get this car to do as good as it did. That was pretty wild. I'll be honest, I wasn't even going to upload it because of losing the audio, and it was just a complete nightmare. Here it would have been a great video, but when I went back and started editing, I had no audio on 2 hours worth of footage. So that was pretty frustrating, and I almost didn't even upload it, but I guess I'm glad I did. There's about 1,000 of you new people that are subscribed, so thank you. Alright. It's done. Let's fire it up. Carburetor's back on, and I guess the next thing is going to be, let's have a look at that distributor. Let's see what she looks like inside. Let me just climb in here. Just be one with this 322. Something I love about GM stuff is the distributor way back in the back. Of course, Chrysler did it too. But oh well. Let's see what we got here. Pop the cap off. Oh. Cap actually looks newer than the rest of this stuff. Okay, what we got going on? Oh, those points look great. I don't see anything wrong with those. Got a new rotor. It's probably a good thing. That rotor's pretty toast. But those points, though, I would bet. Oh yeah, they don't even move. Oh, there we go. There they sprung back. Yeah, it's gonna need points. Might as well put a condenser in there too. Good thing I got new ones. Well, got the points and the cap and the condenser out here. Well, here's the condenser. But I wanted to show you all something that you don't see on these new parts very often. See that? It's made in the USA. The points say it too. I bet this cap is also. It's getting really hard to find any new parts that are. Everything Eklund standard, which those two are the same thing, are made in China. I don't know who makes this, but I just wanted to point out I am impressed that it is American made. I'm gonna crawl back in there, throw these points in, condenser, cap, and rotor. Crawl back under here. These points are pretty nice. They actually even came with a little plastic spacer to keep the points from touching each other. They look right. They look like the right ones. Let me pull the old ones out here. Hopefully I didn't bring the right sized ignition wrench with me to take that little nut loose. Got the best screwdriver I got for the job. Oh, well, I know the problem. Grab the metric ignition wrenches. Dumbass. There we go. Sit that right up there so I can drop it. There we go. Ended up having to use the old condenser bracket. I don't know why, but the new ones never seem to fit right around the new condensers. Throw that in there. I can find the hole. There's the hole. Now for the points. Well, isn't that nice? Now, once you got the points and condenser in, I need to bump the motor over till this right here, the points are on one of the lobes on this cam, and they're open, and then I can set the gap. Like that. See, we're on the high spot on that cam. Oh, hi, Spider. So, now, need to loosen up the set screw on the points. Then we need to slide in a feeler gauge. I'm gonna say probably 20 or 25 thou. Somewhere in that neighborhood is where we need to set these. Grab your feeler gauge, preferably one with my name on it. And then we're gonna slide it right down in there like that. And then we just tighten this down. There we go. That was kind of a struggle. I was not able to hold the camera and use two hands to set the points. But now, I'll turn it over and you can see they're opening and closing like they should be. It's great to me. Throw this nice, pretty rotor back in there. Just like this. There we are. I'm not trying to be too much of a pessimist here, but I have my doubts that these points were probably going to ever work again. Glad I thought ahead and ordered a tune-up kit for this car. So the next step is, since I'm going to be placing the plug wires and stuff, I went ahead and TDC'd this thing. So, of course, made sure number one was on the compression stroke, the valves are closed, and then I turned it by hand and got it all the way up to the very top. I actually even used my awesome little screwdriver and made sure and followed the piston all the way to the very top, and then once it started to go back down, I just turned it the other way a little bit and made sure where it should be right on TDC. So now I know when I put the cap on that where that rotor is pointing there is where number one is, and I want to wire the rest of them accordingly. Well, I guess I am wrong. On a 322, The cylinder I just TDC'd is 2. I wasn't sure. Earlier in the video you noticed I called that 2 and 8 over here, and all the small block Chevy people were probably screaming at me, but I could have sworn that I read that on the Buick 322, 1 is over there, 2 is over here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Opposite, well, kind of opposite, I guess, of a regular small block. But I guess I was right. So either way, right now the rotor is pointing at 2. Based on the firing order, I can still run a wire to 2, and then it's 1, 2, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 3. But as long as I know where 2 is on the cap, I can still wire the firing order correctly. We should be good there. Now might be a good time to throw the plugs in it too. Got a brand new set of AC Delcos. Not something I would ever buy, but this is a GM product, so here it is. For those of you that are wondering, I am still going to dump the oil out of this thing before I start it. My conscience just won't let me, I guess. That's what it is. I do have a conscience, believe it or not. Got to do something pretty cool today. I planned on working on this car earlier, but something neat happened. I'm a part of a car club out here, and there's this fella that lives in town, older guy. I think he said he's 89. But we were out there pulling his cars out of his barn, and I got to see his collection and his house. And he's got some stuff that's just incredible. Like, I never would have guessed that in this town somebody would own a Stanley steamer, a Stutz Bearcat, an American underslung, and what else? He had a couple other things, but those are the ones that really stood out to me. Just a neat guy. So this is the wire kit I got. It's just one of these universal spark plug wire kits. You got to make your own, cut to length, you know, whatever. The way I like to do these is I like to kind of lay them out, stick the end on the plug, and then get them laid out kind of where you want them to lay. Run them back here to the top of the distributor. Now remember, leave yourself more slack than you think you need. You can always cut more off, but you can't ever add any. So now, I've got cut the approximate length that I want. Then you take your little rubber cap here, slide it over the wire, like this. A little bit of WD-40 or something also helps. Slide it over like that. Then I like to take just some dikes. You can use strippers or whatever, but I like dikes. Just clip the insulation off. Then you're left with just bare wire. Give me a little bit more slack here. There we go. Like that. Like that. Love this camera, not wanting to focus on anything. Then you take one of these little guys, the little metal crimp deals, but bend this bare wire over, shove it up inside like that, And I like to use just probably a pair of pliers. I'm sure there's some kind of special tool for it, but this is all I've ever done. Just squeeze the little tabs down, pliers, and then slide the boot up like that. There you go. You've made your own spark plug wire. Now let's just do this 7 more times, 8 more times including the coil. Well, there we have it. New plug wires. I realized part of why they look so bad, which you can't even see, is because the old ones had 90-degree boots on them. These have got straight boots. Whatever. I don't care. It will work to try to get the car running. But it's starting to get dark now. I think we're going to call it a night, because by the time I clean everything up, it will be dark. And I got to put the nice car away. But it's looking like tomorrow is probably going to be the big day. Maybe she will run. Let's hope so. I'm back, and the time has come to try to start the Buick. So, last time I was on here, I was rewiring all the plug wires, and we had just put points in it, and a new condenser, and cap and rotor. Basically a whole tune-up. Well, now that is all done, so it is time to start it. Or now it's time to see if it'll start or do anything. Through a combination of laziness and critical thinking, I determined that I am not going to change the oil. I don't know if you remember, but I did pull the stick, and the oil in it actually looked fine. There was no water or moisture in it that I could tell. And to clean out the sludge and everything, I would normally just run a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil through the crankcase anyway. Well, that's what I dumped in the cylinders, and that's what ran down there anyway, so there's not anything too bad in it. It won't hurt it to start it. If anything, it might help it. That stuff is known for cleaning out sludge and dirt and whatever, so. Plus, starting something with the old oil in it might be good to loosen up any contaminants or anything that's in there, and then once it's been ran and maybe gets, you know, warm, I can dump it. Not a big deal though. I'm not concerned about it. It should be fine. And I don't really want to go buy a bunch of oil right now. Let's get on it. I'm gonna leave this valve cover off too, simply because if it does start, I want to see that I'm getting oil up here at the top end to the rockers, so that would be a good thing. So what I have done, we're gonna see if there's any chance that this original coil will work, and it is 12 volts, so I've hooked up just a jumper wire here to go straight over to the battery. That should just give a spark instead of running through a switch. And I don't know, I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens. Hook this wire up here, we should have ignition. And where's the starter wire? There it is. Should be able to just touch this wire to the battery and it will turn over. Yes. Let's see what happens. I don't think I'm getting spark. We pull the cap off and look in the distributor and see if there's any spark at the points. Of course, there is always the chance that this coil might be no good. Let's check out the points. Nothing at the points. Damn. I'm gonna try opening and closing them and let's see if we've even got voltage to them. See if they spark a little bit. Maybe I need to scrape them some too. They're brand new. I scraped on the points and I checked the wiring in the distributor and everything. It seems fine. I did notice though, in this short amount of time, that coil's already pretty warm. So let me go try to find another coil for it. And this car is 12 volts too. I don't know if any of you knew that. Well, I'm sure some of you did. That Buick in 53 was 12 volt negative ground. I thought that was cool. I didn't realize that. But let me go find a coil. Maybe I can go rob one off of the panel truck. Say you guys remember the panel truck. Oh, let's see if there's a coil. There is a 12 volt coil. Perfect. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, this has escalated quickly. I have tried 2 more coils, so that one there doesn't count. That was the original one. I've tried the one on the panel truck, and then I went and found this fancy red one. I figured would probably fix all the issues. It didn't. So then the next step, had to break out the big guns, the test light. I had to figure out, I got voltage obviously to the plus terminal on the coil, because that's run straight to battery. I know this coil shouldn't need a ballast resistor, so don't yell at me, but I was not getting voltage on the other post on the coil, right? Well, it was run to the distributor. If I disconnected it from the distributor, I had voltage. So therefore, I knew that something was shorting out in the distributor. And I first thought that this ground wire might have been, I thought that was some kind of kill wire run to the vacuum advance, which it could be, because something about these cars and the vacuum tells it when it can spark or not or something, because they use the foot pedal starter. You know, you mash the gas all the way to the floor and it'll start, and there's something about magic and vacuum and the generator and whatever. So I disconnected that, still didn't get any spark, and it was still grounding out in the distributor. So basically what was going on was, this is the hot wire that runs from that post that goes into the distributor, and this goes to one side of the points. I cut it to get it out of there. It was ran through a little loop, but it was bare. About an inch of this wire here was just totally bare and shorting out. So I made a new one, and I had to pull the points back out to hook it up. I made a new one, and of course, right when I was about to put it all back together, one end of it came out of the crimp, as you can see right there. That should be on that post. So I got another crimp. Let me put that back together. And then, after all of that, we should have spark at the points. So we now have power to the points. Finally, let's see if they spark. They spark, not very well. Let me sand those a little bit more, but now the next step, let's spray some carb cleaner down the carb and just see if she'll pop or do something. This car does not have a lot of compression. I've put my hand over the breather while I was cranking it, and it sucks a little bit, but you know, there's a little bit to be desired. But sometimes once you start them and the rings can seat again and the valves can kind of seat again, that'll help bring the compression back around. And being a V8, if it's down, you know, 1, 2, maybe even 3 cylinders, it should still run all right or have enough to start. Whereas if you have a 6-cylinder or something and you've got 2 cylinders down, you're pretty much dead in the water. Well, here goes nothing. Probably literally. I think our battery's too low. Let me go put it on the charger for a minute. Well, let's try this again with a charged battery. Okay. There we go. Let's hook it back up. Here goes nothing. Well, try maybe giving it some actual fuel. Well, that battery is almost dead. I just charged it. Let's get a different battery. Try the Ford truck battery. Sounds a little bit more promising. All right, fine. Maybe I'll just let me hook up an actual fuel source. So, by actual fuel source, what I meant is my boat tank. These things work great. Well, if I can get it open, there it goes. Put a couple gallons in there. Perfect. Oh good, so you've already got flow. Put that right down there. Just like that. It only leaks a little bit. Wonder if the accelerator pump works. It's brand new. Well, I'm out of hose clamps, so I had to make some. Should have fuel. I think the squirters are squirting, so let's try it. It's firing. Tried a few times. I just don't have enough batteries to make this happen. I'm getting oil up at the top end though. Okay, battery number 3. I think this is a combination of low compression. Well, I think it's mainly low compression. Just can't spin fast enough either. The starter's got a lot of drag. I wonder if the timing's off. 2, 3. The fairy order's right, but it just seems like the timing is not quite there. I don't know. Maybe I can adjust that distributor a little bit. Down there. And it's 9/16. Remove the distributor now. Damn. That starter's just dragging too hard. That starter is just instantly killing every battery that I have got. They're just, it's dragging too much and running the batteries dead, and I can't crank it over fast enough to get anywhere. So some people would put 24 volts to that starter. I really don't want to do that. Well, I would say that's a wrap for the Will It Run on the Buick. Hate to give up right now, but fellas, what you haven't seen is I've been working on that car for a week. So that's been, all this footage you've watched has been a week long of me going out and dealing with it for a few hours here, a few hours there. And I'm a pretty busy person, so coming up with that extra time has been difficult. Now, what I did learn from what I have done is I gave it every chance it had easily to start. I did it right. I rewired the inside of the distributor. I tuned it up. It's got new points, plugs, wires, cap, rotor. Rebuilt the carb even, which was working correctly. I know that because the accelerator pump was working. It was squirting, it had fuel, the bowl was full. But what did I get? About 30 seconds to a minute of cranking out of it before it would just zap a battery. So it needs a starter rebuild too. That's going to be cheap. Not a lot of places around here even do that anymore. You can't just buy a Nailhead starter right off the shelf either. Rebuild. Well, you probably can on eBay or something, but I'm sure that's about $700 or something crazy. So there's that, and you guys probably heard it cranks really uneven. It's got a lot of low cylinders, and that could come back around or that might not. The motor really needs to come out also by the amount of sludge that you saw that was in the valve covers, and you know the whole inside of that motor looks like that. So what do? Should it come out? Should it come apart? Or should I go a different route with the car? Put a different V8 in it, different automatic. But then again too, those cars have got a torque tube and you got to change the whole rear end, everything. So I also could buy another 53 Buick. It's a 4-door. Supposedly has a good Nailhead in it and a good Dynaflow. I know the Dynaflow in that car outside there is no good. That's what I was told by the previous owner. So it sucks, but that's where we're at on the Buick right now. They don't all run, fellas. I mean, the Dodge I set it on fire and beat it loose with a sledgehammer and it ran. The DeSoto I had, it ran. We got the panel truck to run once. The only one that hasn't run yet is and the Chevy truck and the 54 Chevy. So actually we've done very well. The one that hasn't run is the Henry J. That one will never run again with that motor. This one could run, but it's going to need a lot more work than I could do in this video. Like, I know you guys are wanting updates, you want to see what's going on. So I went ahead and decided to put this up so you could see what's happening. Because I know you guys start to ask questions and wonder where I'm at or what's going on with the projects. And there's a lot of other projects I would need to get worked on too. This winter, I want to drag the 63 Chevy in. I want to also get that 4-door Dodge in and put a V8 in it. And the next thing that is coming up, that Dodge Ram truck that I drive, which I know is a lot newer than you guys want to see, but I'm going to film it because that's part of it. I need the truck. Right now it's what I use to go get vehicles. It's kind of, it's my trailer puller. So that truck is getting a 440 within the next couple weeks. I've got to put together a 440, and I'm actually going to drive the truck down there to where the motor is, stab the motor in it, and drive it back up here. And that's about 80 miles from here, so that'll make a good video. That's coming up soon. So I got some real stuff in the works, and again, I'm not done with the Buick. There's more I want to do to it. It's a cool car. Is it worth restoring? No, not at all. It's worth getting back on the road, patching the floors, you know, maybe doing interior, but to restore that car, completely restore that car, would be 10 times what it's worth in the end. I realize that. A lot of the cars I've got, it's not worth to restore them, but it is worth getting them back on the road and making them drivers. That's personally what I like anyway. I've restored a couple cars, but none of the stuff I've got out here right now is worth a total frame off nut and bolt restoration. And to me, that is what a restoration is take everything apart, completely rebuild it, replace it, whatever, make it like factory. And a lot of people have a different definition of restoration, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content. There will be more. I plan to shoot another video next week. I know I've been kind of lagging on the videos here, but I've been busy. And as you can see, the kitchen that I showed in the last video is pretty much done. That means my house is pretty much finished, so I have more time to work on the shop and the cars. It's a huge relief. I'm glad to be putting this behind me. So thank you so much to those of you that have stuck with me and continue to stick with me and watch these videos. It means a lot, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.